All right. Good morning, traders, and welcome to another trading week. Welcome to this morning live section where we get to look at the chart and make weekly directional buyers. In this morning section, we get to see the chart, get to look at what we have on the chart, and possibilities we can actually get from the market. So generally, we are here to study and to study as a family. So if maybe you're new here, please do well to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on the post notification so that anytime we go live, you'll be notified. So please, if you can hear me, let me know in the comment section. And if my screen is up, let me also know in the comment section, please. If you can hear me, let me know. And if my screen is up, please let me know. Okay, so okay, let's go straight into the first analysis as usual. We'll be looking at Bitcoin this morning. So let's get to take everything off. So let's get to look at Bitcoin from the monthly time frame. So this is the monthly time frame on Bitcoin. So from the monthly level, what can we see? What can we see? So from the monthly level, if we look at the monthly level, Bitcoin is still what? Bullish, because at this level here, we had a break to the upside, followed by this break at this level. We have another break to this level. So from the monthly, we can see that the last break of structure we have, or the last low, is still protected. So this low here is still protected. This level here is still protected. And this tells us that for this low to still be protected, we should be expecting potential price move to the upside. So let's go down to the weekly to get to see what the weekly is telling us. Alright, so we are on the weekly at this point. And on the weekly, we can still see that this break here is still valid, and this one here on the weekly is a sweep. So the next thing we'll have at this point, this is where we have the break of structure to the upside, and at this point we have a sweep. So we now have our trading range, and this is the trading range. This high is our trading range, and this low, sorry, because this is the last low we have for now. So this is the last low, and this is the highest high we are looking at for at this point. But we need to also understand that this is the last order block at this level here. this point is the last order block. Sorry, excuse. So this is the last order block that actually what caused this entire push, and price has already come back into this order block. As you can see, this candle here, price has dropped into this level here. Price has dropped into that level. So let's get to take this out. So let's go to the daily. Let's see what the daily price action looks like. All right, so this is the daily price action on Bitcoin. So if we also look from the daily level, this was the demand we are looking at for, and looking from the daily at this point, we can still see that price has tapped into this level, meaning from the monthly, weekly, and daily, we should be expecting what? A push to the upside, except otherwise. So based on this analysis we've seen from the monthly, daily, the weekly, and the daily, this tells us that we should be looking out for potential buys to the upside. I don't know if you get. So we should be looking out for potential buys to the upside. And what can we notice on this daily level here? If you look closely at this daily level, we can see that we have this high at this point. And having this high at this point, this is our first liquidity target we want price to clear for us to continue to the upside. And if you also look at, you also find out that we have this fair value gap at this level here. And having this fair value gap at this level tells us that what there's a high chances that what price should come to fill this fair value gap, then possible continuation to the upside. So what are we going to do now? We're going to go down to the 4 hours, then to the 1 hour, where we'll be looking at our trade entries. So let's step down to the 4 hours at this point. All right, so this is 4 hours. This is 4 hours price action. So let me get to take this one out first, so we get to mark the chart properly. So from the daily, this is the last point we had, and this is the other block which price has already tapped into at this point. Don't forget, this is the fair value gap I marked, and you can see these descending lows at this point, liquidity that price needs to take out. Price need to take out that descending liquidity at that point. Now if you look at this point here, we can see we had this internal change of character at this level on the 4 hours, followed by this break of structure. We have another break of structure at this point. This break of structure. At this point, we have a change of character. We'll mark the downside of that too. So if you look at this point, after this price moved up, price came back down. So at this point here, we had this change of character to the downside for this price reverse to give us this change of character to the upside. Let's see if there was a break here. So what we just had here was market sweep of liquidity. So we had a liquidity sweep at that point. Now where is the last break of structure to the upside? So this was where we had the last change of character to the upside. And where is the other block? We have this other block. This is the other block we have on 4 hours. So let's get to step down, because from the monthly, from the weekly, from the daily, we've already seen that what we are bullish. But on the 4 hours, we're having a correctional sell to the downside, and this sell is needed to actually help push down this price into this zone. Then we should be getting buy confirmation to the upside at this point from this zone, because this zone gives us all of the confluences we actually looking at for And what are the confluences? We have our liquidity given to us. There was a fair value gap, a strong momentum to the upside, and price has given us all of this liquidity pool below here. Price has given us this liquidity pool here. So at this level, we have this liquidity pool. So let's get to mark this as our liquidity. So if you get to pull this to the right hand side, let's get to go down to the 1 hour now, understanding that what price is bullish, because that's the first thing we want to understand. What is the current trend of the market? There is a what current reversal to the upside, so we should be trading in accordance to what price is giving to us, understanding fully well too that there's a fair value gap here, and all we have here is what liquidity. All we have here from this level here to this point is liquidity, and price has to come to clear this liquidity, then continue to the upside. So let's get to look at the 1 hour price action now. All right, so looking at the 1 hour price action, let's get to refine the order block properly. So if I want to go with refinement of this order block, this is what I have at this point. I have this as my order block at that level there, and this point is my inducement zone. I want to see price take out. So let's get to extend this to the right hand side. We can actually see that what price has actually was taken at this liquidity was resting below this point, and you're seeing this response to the upside. So let's get to look at the internal price action. Let's get to put this at this point here. So looking at the internal price action, we have this low that was taken out to the downside at this level. Let's get to see if there was a break at this point. Okay, so we had a change of character here. There was a change of character at this low at that point, because this was the last high we had at this point, and market came towards give us a change of character. After giving us a change of character, price came back into this supply, then continued to the downside to give us this break of structure to the downside. So having this break of structure to the downside, what are we expecting? We want to see this price dropped into this 1 hour level, then we look for possibility to take this price to the upside, or price coming back into this level here. Then we'll look for 15 minutes confirmation to actually take the sell to the downside. So those are the two possibilities we'll be looking at for BTC for this week. The first one is we want to see price drop into this zone, then we look for a buy to the upside, or price coming into this sell, and this sell must go with confirmation. I know I'm stating it very well because we are on a bullish trend, and if you just go in using aggressive mode on this, let's get a look at what the 4 hours have for us. So if you go in with aggressive mode trying to take this sell, because this market, if you look at this point, this market actually swept this liquidity. This market actually swept this liquidity at this level here. And you know, when you have a valid market sweep, market can use that as a continuation for the trend. That's it. When you have this type of sweep, market sweeping below a previous low, a previous high, price can just decide to move to the upside continuously. So that's why I'm actually was saying that we need a confirmation at this point for us to actually take that sell. So this is where I want to see price, and if this sell comes, we should be looking for confirmation on 15 minutes. Very, very important. So I believe the BTC chart is well understood, so we can move to something else. Is the BTC chart okay? All right. So since the BTC chart is okay, let's move to gold this morning. Let's look at the gold price action. from last week and what we are expecting for this week now. All right, so let's get to look at gold from the monthly time frame. All right, so this is what we have on gold monthly time frame. We can see that gold has been bullish. Gold has been bullish for the longest, and whatever we are doing, we should trade in the direction of the trend. So we can see that from there about February, from February till now, gold, like throughout this year, gold has been bullish. Gold has been bullish to the upside, creating what new higher highs, always. So from the monthly, we can see that okay, we are bullish. So let's get to step down to the weekly time frame. So if we look at the weekly time frame, we still have somewhat pushed to the upside, just like what we've always been calling out during all the morning live sections, looking out for what more buys to the upside. So this was the most obvious break of structure we had to the upside from the weekly at this point. Now, where is our trading range on the weekly? Because that is what you always want to mark. This high here, we have this high at this level, and we have this low at this level from the weekly. So understanding that this is the box we have to look for our directional buyers in, let's get to step down to the daily. All right, so here on the daily, you can see what the box looks like, but let's get to mark where this price reacted from. So this price is reacting from this other block. This is the other block price reacted from to the upside. And what can we see? We can see that price is pushing for this high, pushing for that high. And if you get to look at the internal price action on the daily level here, this is what we have on the daily level. You can see this obvious change of character to the upside on the daily. This is the daily structure. At this point, we have this sweep. And here we had a break of structure on the daily. All right, so monthly, weekly, daily, we are bullish. Monthly, weekly, daily, we are bullish. So stepping down to the 4 hours zone, let's get to look at what we have on the 4 hours. All right, so this is 4 hours, 4 hours price action. And let's get to adjust this properly. And if you've been very, very active on this channel, following all of the market analysis and live sections every Monday, you will see that we've been calling out buys to the upside, and we stated that we have a supply at this point, which we want to see price come back into, and that's what has been our analysis. And even when we had this high, we said this was what a liquidity point, and nobody should be looking for sells to the downside, because market would definitely will sweep this out. And how did we come to the arrival of that? Understanding that you have a fair value gap at this point, and this high didn't take out this low. For you to actually look for sell at this point, this high needs to take out this low, because this was the low that printed this high. I don't know if you get. So that was why we didn't look at for sales. We were still looking at for what more push to this point. Now, are we going to look at for sales to the downside? For that, we can't actually state that. Why can't we state that? Because price is coming from a very strong level at this point, and this is what a supply. So if price is coming into a supply, we can't rush to take this sell. Looking at the daily price action, what we need to do is what, see if price will get to break this supply, or price will get to what, give us confirmation to look at for reasons to sell before we sell. But for now, we'll still be looking for more buy opportunity. So from the 4 hours, what can we see on the 4 hours? This is the 4 hours break of structure. This is what we have on the 4 hours as our break of structure. And looking at these 4 hours, we have this candle at this point, this candle here. This is what we have as the 4 hours level. So if you look at the 4 hours level, let's get to see if all of our confluences are intact, because that's what you always want to look at for first. All right, so we can already see that market has given us an engineered liquidity at this point, and having this engineered liquidity at this level, we also have a fair value gap. We have a fair value gap at this zone, which tells us that what, this zone has a high probability of price coming back into it. So let's step down to the 1 hour. Okay, so this is what we have on the 1 hour. So on the 1 hour price action, what are we to look at for? Let's get to refine this other block here. So this is what I want to see, and I'll be looking for 15 minutes confirmation when price comes into this level. So this is the fair value gap. This is our fair value gap at that point. So we want to see price come take out this liquidity and push into this other block for us to look for more push to the upside. And looking at price, we can see that we are already at a supply. So for us to actually look for a sell, we want to see this price give us a valid change of character. And based on what we have here, for us to have a valid change of character, this price has to take out this low. This price has to take out this low. And if this price is able to push above this, then it means we'll have a new break of structure and we'll have a new order block within this point. This is what I'm trying to explain. Look at this level here. This point has already was swept liquidity below these lows. Market has already swept liquidity at this point. So if this should actually will break above, then we'll have a new order block at this point. We'll have a new order block at this point. But for now, there is no break, so we can't call it order block. Then if we have this as order block, we can see we already have a fair value gap, and this will not serve as our inducement level at this point. But till price gets to break above before we can actually what, say something. But for now, this is what, invalid. This is invalid. It hasn't given us a valid break above this high. So for gold, there is no trade entry for now till we get maybe a shift of market structure to the downside, or a break above this. Then we'll look out for this next order block that price has given to us for us to actually look out for possible buys to the upside, because this order block is a very, very strong order block when it comes to liquidity sweep. Any candle that gets to give you a liquidity sweep before breaking structure, it's a very strong order block, and you have to actually look out for those other blocks. So if this gives us a break of structure above this point, then consider this to be a very strong or valid order block. So I believe we all understand what I just explained on gold, and the chart is well cleared and well explained in detail. So let's go to USD JPY, then GBP JPY. I think before we go to that, let's get to look at the trade we took. Was it on Monday? The US oil trade we took, and we had a stop loss. Yeah, so this was the trade. This was the trade, and what was the idea behind this trade? We understood that there was a supply at this point, and we were looking out for what, price coming into this 1 hour order block, and we take price into this supply, then we look for possible reversal to the downside. But I think price reacted from the 4 hours supply, because if you look at the 4 hours, price has already mitigated that level. From the 4 hours, price has tapped into this supply, and I feel that's why we didn't get to have that confirmation to the downside. So I want us to look at something, because I found out something, was it yesterday or on Friday? Because this trade, we didn't actually look at it from the monthly, it was just daily and 4 hours. Okay, so if you look at the monthly, we can see that we are bearish. We are bearish. Price is trying to collapse to the downside. So let's get to mark the price action on the monthly level. Look at this candle wick. That's crazy. All right, so we have this supply here. Let's see if price has mitigated that supply. Okay, so from the monthly, price has mitigated this supply, and I feel that's why this price is dropping to the downside massively. Then from the weekly, this is what we have. So we can see that we have this imbalance here to the downside, and this tells us that come 2026 we should be expecting price to roll to the downside. So if you're looking for a perfect stock you want to throw some funds into, I think looking for this price to drop to the downside, then position yourself to invest in US oil. All right, so looking from the weekly, let's get to mark what we have on the weekly time frame, and let's see if we can have potential trade opportunities. So from the weekly, we have this last supply that price came back into, and if you look here, we have this break to the downside. This is what we have to the downside, and we have this level here. This was our liquidity point, and price has taken that tapped into the supply, and we can see this push to the downside. Now let's look at the daily level. So from the daily level from last week, I said something that price was reacting to this level, and for the fact price was reacting to this level and has not taken at this low, I wanted to see price come to clear this liquidity. We have this descending trend line liquidity at this point. If you look at this price action, we have this descending trend line liquidity that I wanted to see price break above this level. This was the level I wanted to see price break, and I was like, if price is able to break above this level, then we should expect more push to the upside. But eventually price wasn't able to break above that point because of the supply we have at this point, and we can see price is dropping to the downside. So now where is our trading range? We have this range here. This is the high we have at this point, and this is the last low we have at this point. All right, so this is what we have. So let's go down to the 4 hours. All right, so here on the 4 hours, what we have here, let's get to see if we have any trade set up for us to actually join this current trade that is actually ongoing. From this level, price has already mitigated this 4 hours supply at this point, and we have relative equal lows at this point. We have this as our relative equal lows for price to actually come to take out. So this is what we have on this 4 hours price action. So what are we to look at for at this point? So if we want to look at this price action, this was where we had the obvious break to the upside, and this level here gave us a change of character to the downside on the 4 hours price action. We have this break and we have this other break or structure to the downside. Now what are we to look at for? We already have this point as a liquidity point, which we can see. All right, and for our supply zone, we'll refine this to this other candle. So let's go to the 1 hour zone. Let's get to see if what we've done on the 4 hours aligns with what we have on the. All right, let me get to take this out. So here we have a break of structure. We have this break of structure here to the downside. All right, so but I want to see something to the left hand side. Okay, this price actually swept this low, because I don't want us to take this trade blindly. We need to make sure that everything aligns in our favor. All right, so this is what we have as our supply at this point. This is what we want to see. We want to see price come back into this level. But since this price is pushing to the upside, if this price gets to give us this type of confirmation, if price gives us something like this, then gives us a valid order block before getting to this point, then we might look for possible buy to this point before what? Looking for shift in market structure, then get to look out for continuation to the downside. And if this price should break above this level, then we should see price rally all the way to the upside. And I feel if price comes back to this level again, then we should be expecting that break of structure or that break of this extreme high that we are looking at for, and that might push US oil higher. That might push US oil higher because the price has actually been ranging within this point. So if we have a possible break above this point, we might see US oil get all the way to $66. All right, so let's get to look at USD JPY. All right, so this is the price action on USD JPY, and I think we are all conversant with this pair because don't go any live section without looking at this particular pair. All right, so first let's get to look at USD JPY. We have this supply at the top, and having this supply at the top, just like what we had on gold and silver. Yeah, we haven't looked at silver. Yeah, so this here is a liquidity point. This is a liquidity point, and I think price is just reacting to this level. Price is reacting to this level here, and before we get to look at for us actually what using this level, we have to look at a valid change of character. So from the daily, I still have this supply zone as my major point, because what basically I trade extreme zones more, and not just extreme zones based on my confluences. This is what an inducement zone, and I want to see price take this out. And if you've always been following up with my analysis, when I come to looking at the extreme zone, you see should I say 70-80% out of the time they get to play out just like what I was looking at for. So this zone is still a valid zone for me to still see price push all the way into. So whatever I'm doing, I'm still looking out for that zone for price to come back into. All right, so looking at the 4 hours current price action, we have this other block that price has mitigated at this level here on USD JPY, and this is the last high we have. And if you were on you're in attendance for last week price action, I said something on USD JPY. I said looking at this price action to the downside, we have a descending trend line, and when you have a descending trend line, we want to see price break and get to clear this trend line to the upside. And if you look at what price has done, price has cleared over 50, let me say 60 or 70% into this level, just like what I explained. And understanding how to use your trend line liquidity in your favor is one thing you need to actually understand as a smart money trader. And if you've not actually watched the video I dropped on Saturday after this live section, go over to that video and get to watch that video. You will really get to understand how I'm able to actually use trend line in my favor. Go over to the video dropped on Saturday and you will see how detailed that video is, actually using trend line in your favor and not trading it the way a lot of trend line traders gets to use it. All right, so I said there was no fair value gap here, and we should expect price to pull above this. Now price has tapped into this level, so what we were actually expecting on that week live section was price coming into a 1 hour level. If you remember vividly, I was on a sell position and I closed that trade at 1:1. That trade almost gave me over 1:3, but I think my greed level actually cost me something bad on this USD JPY, because I think it was like there are about few pips, like 5 to 10 pips to my take profit, and this market reversed on me and I closed that trade with just 1:1. It was a crazy one, and I think December has been crazy for me, unlike other Decembers, but I can't conclude yet, but I think I've not actually made anything tangible this December, and I've taken like 3 stop losses this December. And USD JPY was supposed to be that trade I was supposed to recover my 3 stop losses, but nevertheless. All right, so let's get to refine this to the 1 hour order block. So this is what we had on the 1 hour USD JPY. This is the level, and looking at this level as of Monday, the price was somewhere at this level, and I said I won't consider this as my change of character yet. And I don't know if anybody can remember why I said that. I don't know if anybody can remember. I said price has not given me any inducement or engineered liquidity at this point, so I can mark this as an order block. I can mark this as a valid order block. I can mark this, and we can see that price didn't even come back to. And there was something I said for me to actually consider this as a valid order block, I want to see this price come very close to this, pull up, then before coming back to this zone, and that's when I'll be interested in taking the sell. But we can see price didn't even come back to that level and continue to the upside. Now price continuing to the upside, what do you notice? This price pull all the way to the upside, giving us what? This inducement level, because this is the inducement we had at this point. This was the inducement, and you can see that a lot of persons, when this price came back into this point, because they had what we had, a break of structure at this level. Having this break of structure, they took this buy to this point, and price continued to the upside. Now, I was looking for a sell at this supply within the week, but price did not actually what give me valid confirmation. That is why I didn't actually what call out this sell to the downside. I didn't actually get the desired buildup of liquidity I was actually what expecting for this point to. And I think, I don't know, let me check 15 minutes if there was a confirmation. But the last time I checked, there was no confirmation for me. But let me see if price did later on. Okay, so we have this change of character and this liquidity. There was no fair value gap. There was no fair value gap. So there is no way I would have actually taken the trade. There was no fair value gap. And what I was actually waiting for a valid confirmation was, if you look at this price action on the 1 hour, this is a valid order block. But if you look at this one on the 15 minute, because I went down to the 15 minutes and I saw this fair value gap here that was open. So immediately I saw this on 15 minutes price open at this point, I was like, no. Price can actually take this point as an inducement point and come back to this point. So that's why I was actually waiting for a valid confirmation on 15 minutes, and I didn't get to share this trade. And even on the 1 hour, let me get to show you something on this 1 hour. If you go down to the 1 hour, the way I actually like taking my break of structure is I want to have a double break of structure. That is it. If I don't have a double break of structure, I won't actually take that other block, because I will see that as an inducement level, and it's just like what we have here. At this point now, we have this inducement. That's something that can make me take this sell, take this buy. Sorry. So we have this point. We have this level here. Now look at this level. We have this level at this point. We have this level at this point, and we still have this 1 hour demand zone at this point. So I personally speaking, this trade is something we have to be very, very careful about. We have to be very, very careful. Now, why am I saying we have to? Why am I saying we have to be very, very careful? Because now, if you look at this price action, price has actually tapped in on the 4 hours demand level. Price has tapped. This price action has tapped into this. And on the 1 hour, price has not actually mitigated. And the best way I actually want to trade my confirmation is I want to see that even on my 1 hour level, price actually dipped into it. I don't know if that makes sense. So I have this zone here, and for me to trade from this particular zone, for me to trade from this particular zone here, I'm not going aggressive this December, please. January is 90 days. So we have this level at this point, and having this level at this point, what do I want to see? If I want to trade from this level, I want to see a 15 minutes confirmation. Very, very important, because we still have this level pending, and price can decide to use this level as an inducement point. So we have these two zones. Yeah. If you want to take the buy, I'm not saying the buy. The confluences are all intact, but I still have a fair value gap line at this point. Now, okay, let me take you to the left hand side so maybe you get to see what I'm saying. Now, look at this point. There's a fair value gap on this demand zone still left unfilled. And when you have that, a lot of times price will get to use the first zone as an inducement point. I know what I'm saying. In as much as this has all of the confluence, that's what I'm saying. If you want to, or if we should take a buy from this, we should get a 15 minutes confirmation. Very, very important. Get a 15 minutes confirmation, and that's the issue when you I always have when you have a larger zone. I think we have something like this on USD card last week. I'm going to go over to that pair and we'll get to look at what we had on USD card before coming to GBP JPY. So for USD JPY, this is what we have, and if we are taking this trade, if we get a 15 minutes confirmation, or for those that want to go in aggressive mode, This is what you should be targeting, at least this high. This should be your first high. And overall, if you are capable of holding, then look out for price coming to this point. But if I'm to take this trade and I want to target the extreme, you know what I do? I don't always go for the extreme high. I go for a possible liquidity point before that high. Look at this point. This is where I want to exit the market, because a lot of time price can just clear a little bit above this and you see reversal to the downside. So you have to be very, very careful. Just like a lot of people that actually took this buy, some persons caught this, but for those that trade fair value gap, they were able to join in on this trade, and maybe they were trying to target this level. You know, one thing is actually understanding where to enter, where to place your stop loss, and where to exit the market, because a lot of times you can actually get that good position, good entry, but your exit is a big problem. Just like what I had on this USD sell that I was on, I was actually taking this sell to the downside. Now, why was I taking this sell to the downside? Let me get to show you. You can go back to the Telegram group, or if you're on the WhatsApp community, you can check that. Okay, so now if you look at originally, if I've actually considered this properly, this is what I would have done, but I just don't know what I did that. So this is what I would have done, exiting this trade at this level here. Look at this liquidity here, knowing fully well that this is a liquidity point and price can just sweep below it and revert. This is what I would have done. Immediately price came into this point, I would have exited the market, but I wanted to hold into this level. I think my take profit was at this candle wick here, because there was this fair value gap. So I felt like, okay, definitely price should fill this fair value gap, and this trade reversed on me from this point, giving me 1:1, something that I would have just closed at maybe, I think this trade was giving me like almost 2.8 or 2.9 if I'm not mistaken. It was very, very close to our take profit, but it's all good. So that's why you need to actually understand where to set your take profit or stop loss. Yes, liquidity point, very, very important, like very important. You won't understand till maybe you get to lose out on some good trades you've actually been able to analyze, and a good catch. So this is what we have on USD JPY. This is what we have, this zone and this zone, for those that actually want to take. If you want to go in aggressive, take your buy from here and at least your first take profit here, and if you see the push to the upside more, you can decide to break even and allow the trade to run to the upside. But this is a valid point to actually put your take profit, and the next valid point. And if this other block is to hold, we should be expecting push to the upside, following the fact that 4 hours and daily we have this extreme high that we are looking at for price to clear on the daily. And if you also go back to the daily level, we have a supply, we have this liquidity point, and we have this supply. So we actually want to see price still return back to the upside. And also from the daily, you can see that this is a strong demand level. So definitely we should be able to get something nice from USD JPY, except USD JPY is not just in the mood to give us something good. All right, so let's look at USD CAD this morning. USD CAD, we'll just look at the last price action we had. So on USD CAD, we stated something that we were looking at for this zone and this zone. Now I marked this zone from the 4 hours, or there about 1 hour, but if you look at this price action, there is a relative equal lows at this point, which might actually cause this price to fail at this point. We have this liquidity here at this point, because the way I actually analyze my trade, I don't try to take sides, because that's one thing a lot of traders do. You take side because you try to look out for the reasons why that trade should play out. No, the first thing I look at for my trade is why the trade should fail. And once you understand the reason why the trade should fail, that is when you understand the reason why it should also play out. Don't only look at why it should play out. Always look at for this analysis I've done, why should it fail? And that is the first thing I always look at for. So now, if you look at this one, there's something missing here, this liquidity, and there's a fair value gap. So definitely this price might fail. And let's go to the 1 hour. There was something I said during that live section. I said something. I said I wanted to see price because this zone was a very big zone, and I said I want to see price come back at least 50% of this block. And we can see that price has already come 50% into this block. And since price has come 50% into this block, what do I want to see? I want to see this. Let me get to do this. There's a change of character. Yes. Look at it. We have this change of character here. But having the change of character, was there any valid reason? Look at this here. This was the last break of structure to the downside. Now we have this change of character, and if you actually trade other block the way I trade other block, you will know that this was not a valid trade. Why was it not a valid trade? Why was it not a valid trade? Let me know if maybe those in the last VIP group for the last class we just concluded last month, they are on this live section. I don't know, can anybody, and even if you're not one of our students or something, if you know why this is not a valid order block for us to look at for trade from, I want to see a response in the comment section. Why is this not a valid order block for us? Why? There is a change of character, there is momentum, everything valid. So why is this not a valid change of character or valid order block for us to place our buy? Let me know if we have strong traders in the house. Why is this not a valid order block? Nobody has an answer. That's serious. All right, so if you look at this, we said we also have a valid break of structure or valid order block. This is what we want to see. So let's look at this particular price action. So we have this price, and price comes to take out and give us this, and price is returning back to this order block immediately. If price returns back to your order block immediately, it's not valid because market came back immediately into that zone without giving us yes. Correct. Yes. So the two answers we have in yes, price is coming into the zone immediately without any liquidity, or there was no form of any inducement now. So this is what we want to see. I will give us a two case scenario or two scenarios. So this is what we want to see. For the first one, we have market has actually was swept this low, valid, and I always love when my order blocks gets to sweep liquidity. Now let me get to explain what I mean by sweeping liquidity. Now, so if you look at this order block actually what took out the liquidity below this one, then price returns to give us what a change of character. Now, so for the first scenario, let me give us the first scenario I want to see. So for the first scenario, I want to see this price come this way, price give us a break, come back this way, give us a break. This one is a change of character, this one is a break. Now, what is this zone here? When you have this type, when you have a break of structure, what is this level? This is your inducement. So this is what you want to see. You want to see price come back into this one. This is the right zone, and you see this price push to the upside. Now, I will give you the second scenario. This one is an inducement point. The second scenario will be based on what? Engineered liquidity. Engineered liquidity. So for those that don't actually understand the difference between inducement and engineered liquidity, I'm going to give you I think I will give us three scenarios here. I'll give us three scenarios. So at this one here, we have this price come back to this, and you see maybe a push to the upside. This one didn't give you a change of character. Then you will see price again drop and push up again. Now, what this price I just given to you is engineer liquidity. just trying to make sure that this other block is valid. Then you see price tap here before what, and when you take this trade, what do you target? You target this high that the price is coming back from. So that is it. Sorry. So this is for, don't mind this drawing to the right hand side like cup, but this is what I'm just trying to say is this is the highest also. Put here, take profit. So let's get to take this out. Let me take this out and give us, okay, let me just get something. So let's look at the third scenario where you have both engineer liquidity and inducement, because some persons haven't actually dealt with complex setup. So this one here, you see price come back like this. Let me say something like this, and price pulls up. Then you see this price come back down, and when this price comes back down, I think this is similar thing we have on USD JPY, but let's get to see then. This price will not give you what? A change of character. Now, look at this price has given you a change of character. So, what will a lot of persons be looking at for? They will want to say, okay, this was the last break of structure. Now, price wants to come back to this point, and you want to take this trade to the upside. Now, a lot of times, this might actually play out well. But let me tell you the issue you'll be faced with. If this does not give you a sub-engineered liquidity, something like this, maybe engineered liquidity. Okay, let me see if shit. Okay, so let me just get to pull that up again and see. Okay, so price gets to sweep this point and price gives you a change of character. So if this price does not give you something like an inducement here before coming to this other block, then this is what? Yeah, inducement. I don't know if you get. So what price just did here was just give you this engineer liquidity. Price swept it. Gave you what? Gave you an inducement point. So you want to see price come back to this point, then to the upside. So these are different scenarios. We have a whole lot of smart money patterns that maybe during the live sessions I'll be introducing some of them so that we get to always get ourselves acquainted with all of these stores, and we're equipped to actually understand how this complex pattern works, because you won't always see this in the market. Market will not always give you this come back, this, then price will come back. No. There are times you actually see complex stuff like this, and that's when you have to actually calm down to understand liquidity. You see, liquidity is something you need to actually take into detailed consideration, like very, very important. Don't underestimate the power of liquidity in your trading. So for this particular one, we should be expecting this price here. Let me take this off. We should be expecting this price here to break this low. Price should break this low, or price should break this high. And if this price gets to break this high at this point, this is what I want to see. For the first one, I want to see this price break here. If it breaks here, then I have my break of structure. Now, what will I do? I will look out for maybe engineer liquidity for me to actually take this other block, then look out for buys to the upside. But if this price doesn't give me this, then look out for this price. Look out for this price. This might continue to the downside. This might continue to the downside. So your experience in understanding liquidity will actually help you a lot in the market. And I think this exactly 1 hour. I think let's just quickly look at GBP/JPY, but I wanted to look at all of the Euro USD, AUD USD, and all of that today. I'm trying to do something. I am seeing that having our live section just once in a week, it's kind of like, I don't know. I think I'm trying to look at maybe putting up something on Wednesday, even if it's not a live space. I don't know if I should make it a live space or I should just do a video on market structure, just like a midweek market overview every Wednesday. That should be dropping every Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon, depending on how free I am, so that that actually gets to serve us, because Monday we're not able to cover up a whole lot of pairs. So let's say something like, since we've looked at these other pairs, Wednesday I can decide to, maybe if I'm doing it alone, I can decide to look at maybe 4 or 5 pairs. I think in that way it will actually help us to look at a whole lot of pairs and actually get to cover up for pairs that other community members or uh, the general viewers on YouTube will get to also benefit from, because not a lot of persons actually trade maybe what we get to look at on Monday. So maybe from Wednesday this week I will implement that. So watch out for uh Wednesday videos, maybe just like a 30 minutes market recap, what I'm expecting from Wednesday till Friday. So we'll be looking at that on this channel, and if maybe there is also time, we can decide to be doing maybe a Wednesday market recap too, or looking at the market too. This is daily on GBP/JPY, and let's get to look to the left hand side. So the left hand side, from, was that the last supply? So I think price has actually broken above this one. This tells us that what price is very bullish, or price is super bullish. So let's quickly look at the 4 hours, then 1 hour, so that we can end this. Okay, so from these 4 hours, if you look at this 4 hours price action, this is where you have this order block. This is where you have this order block. But if you get to refine it, so let's get to see this. Is this fair value gap still valid? Let's look at it on 1 hour. Let's see if this fair value gap is unmitigated. Okay, so this fair value gap has already been filled at this point. So if that fair value gap has been filled, then this other block here, it's valid. So this is what we have. So what are we saying? Should we make the Wednesday market structure price action, and should we make it a live section, or I should just drop a video? So this is what we have. So this is what we have. So for GBP/JPY, this is what we have on the 1 hour. This is just a quick recap. We have this other block, we have this inducement point, and we have this fair value gap here. So I want to actually see price come back into this point. This point here. So this is what we have on GBP/JPY. Let me see if maybe we can get maybe a possible sell to the downside. So looking at this price action to the upside here, this was where we had the last break of structure to the upside, and price came to tap into this level. So we have a change of character. If the Wednesday will be live, then we'll test it from now to end of year, and let's get to see that. But if it's live, it will actually be more fun too. All right, so we have a change of character here, and okay, we'll go with the live section. All right, so we have a break of structure to the downside here. Having a break of structure to the downside, we have this level as a change of character here, before price came to take out the overall low, giving us another change of character. So having this change of character, and we can see that we have this level to the downside. What do you want to see? I actually don't like this supply I'm seeing, because when you have supply that didn't actually sweep liquidity, and you're having all of these relative equal lows to The downside is something I don't love seeing on my chart. I don't like seeing it. But if I want to go with this particular price action based on what we have here, I want to consider this other block here. This is what I want to consider. Then this will serve as my inducement. This will serve as my inducement at this point here. This will serve as my inducement. I want to see price come back into this level, but with confirmation. Very, very important. With confirmation. With confirmation. That's it. And why I will be looking for this sell is for us to take this sell, this price must not get to this other block. If price has gotten to this point, then this sell is invalid. So let's just put this aside before somebody will come across this video and be like, a sell was called out. No. So this is what we want to see, price coming into this zone, and we get to strike. So that's all for today. Maybe if we get to have the live section by Wednesday, we'll get to look at EU, because I actually want to be looking at EU, AUD. Maybe we'll be using Wednesday for those particular 4 pairs or 5 pairs at least, so that at least it will help to actually balance those trading other pairs and get to also cover more pairs too. So that's the essence for that Wednesday live section. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and please do well to share this channel link. Do well to refer people to this channel. Let them get to also learn and get to benefit from what we do here, because that's the best I can actually do, since I don't have enough money to share. So let them come and at least start from what we learn here, and let's see if we can make money together or also lose together. That's it. It's normal. Just like what I said, this December I've taken 3 stop losses, if I'm not mistaken. I think 3. And USDJP was supposed to be that savior, but I lose guard. Meaning my December is red. My December is red. I think maybe I will ask for everybody's location on this live section. People should host me this December, because I'm broke. Alright, so thank you for tuning in, and do have a blessed week ahead. See you all come Wednesday, and do well to always share, do well to always repost the channel link, so that people can get to actually join. Let's get to grow this family. Let's become a bigger family and a bigger community here on YouTube. So thank you once again, and do have a nice day ahead. God bless us all. Goodbye.